and gentlemen, welcome to the YouTube channel Tamasha TVKE. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. My name is Natasha Agunda, and we are on episode 4 of Divas in Business. Now, Divas in Business is a podcast or a talk show that highlights the amazing things that divas or women in general are doing across Nairobi, Kenya, Africa, and even the whole world. Now, joining me today on the hot seat is an amazing marathon runner. She has run the likes of Boston Marathon, New York Marathon. She has been to so many areas of the world, and even our own Standard Chartered Marathon. And get this, she's not my age. She is not your average running age, right? She's a granny, and they call her TATA Nduku, the marathon granny. TATA, hi, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the genesis of the name TATA.
Well, welcome to my house. I'm privileged to have you around.
A beautiful house, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm always happy at least to have young people at least coming to look to interview this old lady who runs around. So my name's Joyce Nduku, popularly known as Tata, and Tata means grandma in Teso. When I started running at the age of 50, I was running amongst the people who were younger than I was, so they were not able to call me my name. And as you know, African customs, you cannot call an old person by their first name, so you have to either call them by other names, like even Mama so and so. And so the running community decided to call me a granny, and granny in Teso means Tata, and that's how I adopted the name. It's not a lot of people sometimes don't understand Tata, because they think that because I'm a Kamba, why am I called Tata? Because Tata in Kikamba, it is a father. Tata in Kikuyu, it is an auntie. And of course in Kisi, Tata is a father. And of course there are lorries which are called Tata. So yes, mine is Tata, the marathon granny, which came from a Teso name for granny. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your background, where you were born, and all that.
Well, I was born in Machakos County, which is Kangundo. That is my home. I grew up like any other person in the village until and did schooling in the village. So I started, and later on I would move to Nairobi, and I started working at Kemri. So I worked in Kemri for the last 30 years until I retired in 2014 at the age of 60. And while I was at Kemri, at the age of 50, of course, everybody knows Kemri is a medical research institution. So when I was at Kemri and I had reached the age of 50, I started having a knee pain. I could not be able to walk just downstairs, and I could not be able to squat. And so I thought at least this is I thought at least I'm getting arthritis. Probably it is the arthritis which is
the birthing stages.
Yes. So I decided to take up exercise, and the simplest exercise I could be able to take was running, and which is cheap. You just need yourself and running shoes and the running gear, and it's less expensive. Anyone can run anywhere. So that's how I picked up running while I was working at Kemri at the age of 50. And when I picked it up, a lot of people despised me and told me, how can you run at the age of 50? You will die. A lot of discouragement, even from my family, even from my colleagues. They thought I was a passing crowd, and 21 years down the line, the crowd has not passed. Yes.
Yeah. So you started at the age of 50. Tata, now you're 71.
Yeah.
So many years along the line. Are you grateful that you actually started running?
Yes, I'm so grateful that I started running, because I come from a family that at least has a history of diabetes and hypertension, and I have lost I have lost even my own relatives and my dad. I have lost my 2 brothers because of heart attack, and I thank God at least I started running. Well, and I say even if I will die of the same heart attack, but probably at least I have, yes, when you exercise, at least you can be able to get away with these lifestyle diseases. Battled to stop taking sugar for a long time at least, and for the last probably 15 years I have not been taking sugar, but I can take sugar when I feel that at least the craving for sugar, the tea with milk at least, but I do black tea or black coffee without milk and sugar at least. And yeah, as you know, yeah, most of this food that at least we are eating, it's yeah, there's so much sugar. Yeah, it is refined food, and so I can get the sugars within other food components.
Tata, you know, at your age, people might be urging you to slow down, but it seems as though it's just like you've just started and you feel so alive. What motivates you?
Well, at least what motivates me, yes, it's because at least the being away from lifestyle diseases, at least as many people, yeah, that motivates me, because when I wake up and I'm not in pain, I'm not in pain, at least, yeah, that motivates me at least a lot, and it tells me you can continue running. The other second thing, it is as much as I run for physical fitness, I run for charity, and charity by giving back to the society. If God has given me this good health, I feel that at least I should be able to give it back to the society. And there is somebody somewhere in pain who cannot be able to do anything, and so I try and bring some life in those people who are in pain, who cannot afford it. So that is what motivates me, because I believe every drip of my sweat that drips out of my face while I run, it's never wasted. Whether I train, whether I do a race, because I know one day it is going to help somebody somewhere who is in pain or who is in dire need of something, and they are not able to access it.
Yeah, we'll come back to that charity work, because I know you've done a lot of charity in Nairobi and without. Let's now start your life at the age of 51, when you now started running. What was your first marathon?
My first marathon was the Standard Chartered Marathon in 2004, and it was the second edition. I had just heard about the Standard Chartered Bank has launched a marathon. I started a race in Nairobi, and so I had just started running about 2 months, and then I went and registered, and of course it was a half marathon, and I went and ran it in 2.5 hours and completed it. And the pain that at least I went to run, because I had a history of a knee pain. And running with a heavily bandaged knee, I removed it and walked to my house from KICC to Nairobi West, and that became my genesis for running, because the peace that I felt in my body after running, it was peace that I couldn't explain anyone. And I didn't have pain at all. Now my knee, I didn't have pain, and so that is what at least I said, I can be able to run. That's the genesis of my running. That is 21 years ago.
That is so inspiring. You removed the bandage.
I left the bandage at KICC and walked home, and pain-free. And up to today, at least, yeah, even if I have some little pain, these are injuries. Yes. It is not it's a lifestyle disease. Yeah.
Okay. And this, of course, has birthed so many other avenues of you running other marathons. You've done many. Maybe you can even tell us. I don't even want to speak for you. How many other marathons have you done apart from the Standard Chartered Marathon?
Oh, I have done many other races. I've done many other races. It opened at least, and starting with in our country at least. I have run in many other races within our country. Safaricom Lewa Marathon, the Dakaini. I have run the Matat Run. I have run Sotokoto. I have run Mwea Classic Marathon. I've literally stood at almost in every race those early years before. Now there are so many other runs which have come up, but I stood at every start line for many races, at least within our country. And then, of course, regionally, at least in Africa, at least we have had some races like the Mount Kilimanjaro Marathon, which is on its 23rd year. But I have run it now for the last 13 years. And out of the 13 years, 9 years, I have run 4 marathons. Wow. I have run 4 marathons at Mount Kilimanjaro Marathon, and I have run 4 half marathons. Hopefully next year, God willing, if in the same conditions, I hope at least I am going to recap and do my 10th full marathon for the Kilimanjaro Marathon. I've also run the MTN marathon in Uganda sometimes back, and I've also run the Kigali Peace Marathon some years back in 2007. I have run. And also I traveled to, South Africa as some of the best ultra marathon running, at least, yes. And I have traveled to South Africa at least 3 times at least to run some of the most beautiful races in the world. And one of the best beautiful race is called the Two Oceans Marathon. And as you know, that is where the two oceans meet, because the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean. And so in Cape Town they have that run that is called the Two Oceans. It's an ultra marathon, which it's 56 kilometers. Of course, there is a 21 and a 56. And in 2010, I was turning 56 years old. So some of my colleagues, at least my running buddies, they asked me, we would like you to go and run this race, because they had run the previous year. They discovered the run the previous year in 2009, but they didn't. There was nobody who was turning 56. So the following year, the 2010, I was turning 56, and they told me, no, you have to run 56 at 56. You will never be 56 again. So you have to run this race. And doubtfully, at least I was thinking about myself that, can I be able? Because I was running 42 kilometers. So I decided, okay, let me give it a trial. And I went to celebrate my 56th birthday by doing the 56 at 56 in 2010. And I ran for 5 hours, 35, and I completed
5 hours
non-stop of running.
Oh my God.
And I thought, at least, this is the greatest of all that at least I have. This is the greatest of all. I have hit 56 at 56. Of course, South Africans, they have many other races. They usually ask you, can you sign up for an 80 kilometers, a 70 kilometers, or whatever during the marathon exhibition. So I told them, me, I don't think I can be able to run past 56. Little did I know, 80 years down the line, I would be back in South Africa and now run almost double that distance.
Oh my God.
So yes, I came back I came back after 56, of course, and I continued with my training, running full marathons, of course, and now in 2018 I was 65 years old. And one of my friends, at least 2 of my friends, asked me, Tata, we would like you to run for a cause. We would like you to run a marathon for a worthy cause. And please choose one of the causes, at least we shall be able to help you do it, at least, and we will train, at least, and we will get other runners, at least, who can come on board. And by then, of course, recreational running had already picked up in Kenya, and people now, at least, are running for worthy causes. So in 2018, I registered for this race. It is 90 kilometers. Oh my God. And it was the 95th edition of the it was the 95th edition of the Comrades Marathon. It's called Comrades Marathon. This is one of the hardest marathon because it started after the Second World War. And this race in South Africa has been run since the Second World War up to today. And they only missed it. No, it had started before the Second World War. And so the only time that at least it has not been run, it was during the Second World War and during COVID. The race is going to be 100 years in the next 2 years. In 2027, the race is going to be celebrating 100 years. So I ran the 95th edition. I went and registered. And of course, I started training for the race. And of course, I said, I cannot run 90 kilometers just for the sake of a medal. I have to run for a worthy cause. And it has to be connected with something. So I chose to run the Shoe for Africa Children's Cancer Hospital, which is at the Moi Referral Hospital. And as you know, this country, Kenya does not even have does not have a public children's hospital. What we have, it is the private hospital, like the Gertrude Children's Hospital, but we do not have a public children's hospital. So what we have in the 47 counties, there are wards. There are children's wards, but we do not have
a children's hospital.
A children's hospital. And so there is this the director of the children's hospital. It's called Toby Tanza. Toby Tanza usually gets runners at least, and both the elite runners and the recreational runners, the likes of the elite runners and the recreational runners who usually run, and they put their monies. And also he gets other runners from all over the world who can be able to support his cause. So I went and registered for that run, and I started running, and I ran it in 2018. It is 90 kilometers, and I went down south, and it was that year it was a down run. A down run means it is from Peter Maris back to Durban. So I went and ran the 90 kilometers, and I ran for 10 hours, 25 minutes of non-stop of running.
My God.
Yes, because there are quite a number of thousands, 25,000 people come from all over the world to come and run that race, and it has 6 cut-off times. So you have to make it within the 6 cut-off times. You have to make it, otherwise they will not allow you to continue, because at least it means you will be running in the dark. So at least I ran and I made sure that I had a buffer, the time of 1 hour, just in case the last checkout point I would not be able to make it. I knew very well I can jog for the last few kilometers at least to the finish line. So I went, I got runners from around here. I asked people to come.
They call pacers, or what do they call
No. We got the recreational runners at least. Yeah, we got the recreational runners to come around at least and rally my initiative. Like your auntie, like your auntie, Vivian, who came on board, and many other friends of mine who came on board at least and helped me, to start to just have a run as preparations. And these are ordinary Kenyans. I was never supported by people except maybe the Nairobi woman rep, who came to support me. The rest of the other people and somebody else, the rest of the other people were just the ordinary runners whom we agreed, instead of going to do your hair and spend 1,000 shillings, or you are going to a barber, spare that 1,000 shillings and give it to TATA at least to raise money for this worthy cause. So that's how, yes, I went and ran in 2019. I raised about close to 500,000 in 2019. My target was to raise to 2 million shillings. Then I came back, and of course I have not achieved it. After running for 10 hours, I have not achieved it. About quarter halfway, but so I came back and decided, okay, Now 2019, because I have to go back to South Africa again and run, yes, and continue raising money. So in 2019, I was turning 65 years old. And this race in South Africa, you have to run back to back. They call it back to back. And when you run back to back, you get another extra medal. So because it is a down run and an up run. This time it was an up run from Durban to Pietermaritzburg. So I went and registered, and I ran 10 hours 57 because it is uphill and it is 87 kilometers.
Even run 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I went and ran it, and then because I had gotten a slot through the director for Shoe for Africa, Toby Tanza, I had to go to New York Marathon and recap my my fundraising.
Right.
So I ran in June in South Africa, and now went to New York on November. In between, at least Coca-Cola had heard about there is this old woman who is running for a worthy cause, and they came in at least and they said, of course, they had depleted their allocation for CSR, but they came in handy, and they hydrated me for 6 months. They gave me the Kerrigan water, at least hydrating me every day as I trained, and of course, they reimbursed my ticket to South Africa, and then at least they reimbursed my ticket, which because I had to raise my own ticket. So so the Coca-Cola gave me about 300,000 at least, and in total at least I managed to raise 1 million Kenya shillings.
Wow, that's an amazing initiative, and not so many people have the opportunity. Not so many people, women rather, have the opportunity to do that. But Tata, let me ask. At one point, when you're doing all these things, and because you're doing it for charity, you're doing it out of the goodness and the kindness of your heart, do you sometimes get into situations where you feel like, I want to give up, things are not going my way, and I'm even just tired of this thing. Let me just run if I need to run, but not doing initiatives?
That does not come in my vocabulary. It doesn't come at all. That at least things are hard. At least actually things have been hard, but it doesn't. For me, it doesn't matter. I keep on pushing. I have energy. That at least I say, let me continue pushing, even though things are hard. Money is not coming forward. The sponsorship is not coming forward. I find myself to the start lines, because before I did the New York Marathon in 2008, I had friends and family who live in the US, and so they had heard that I had run my first full marathon here in Nairobi in 2007, after having run the Standard Chartered Marathon for 3 consecutive years, and I was running only half marathon. In 2008, I upped the game and went to the US, and I went and ran the Chicago Marathon, which is among the world marathon, the 7 world marathon majors. So I went to the US and ran at least, and I ran successfully. I knocked a whole hour from my previous Nairobi time, because at least Nairobi I ran 5 hours 7 minutes. I went to Chicago and I knocked a whole hour. And so yes, and later on, at least as I have said, at least I would go for the for the New York Marathon in 2019. Raising money for the Shoe for Africa. 2021, I would return to the streets of America, and at this time I was doing the Boston Marathon. And this time I was fundraising for a female student who had dropped out of the university as a third year. This is a government-sponsored student. In 2016, the government did a double intake. They did a double intake, placing students in the private universities. And one of the students was placed here in my neighboring university here, the East African University. And when this girl was placed here, there are no hostels, there is no infrastructure. So that girl, in between, at least during academic, because there is no proper accommodation infrastructure, in between she got 2 children. In between she got 2 children. This is a girl who would have ended up in Maseno, who would have ended up in Nairobi University, who would have ended in the public universities. But because the government did a double intake, and they were government sponsored and they were placed here. In the period of 3 years, she got 2 children.
Oh, wow.
And she dropped out of the university. And she was doing manual jobs here. I discovered this girl in our neighborhood here who was doing manual job, and this was a bright girl whose braids were now being wasted.
Yes.
So in 2021, I decided to run the Boston Marathon and fundraise for this girl.
Wow.
And put up this girl back to the university. So and you know, I don't have a sponsor. At least I'm paying for my ticket. So I just asked a few people, some of the runners at least, to come around me, and we rallied and raised money for this girl. This girl, she was it's a 3rd year. I called her. We did a budget at least, and the budget was about 350,000 that she needed for accommodation. Remember, she has 2 children. These 2 children have to eat, and she has a rent to pay for these 2 children. And I didn't want her to stop academics by going to do these manual jobs. So I told her I will be able to cater for everything, pay rent, pay for our tuition fees, and and put these young ones in the daycare center where, so that at least she doesn't have just a budget for her food. So I just called people here, and one of my friends had actually offset at least the fees was 95,000. So somebody just offered and offset. So I was left with the other logistics of having to get money for her accommodation, yes, and the other and food and so forth. Yes. So this is So I went. I went and ran Boston Marathon. That is how the Champs media heard about my initiative, and they came around at least and did a documentary at least just to give me publicity so that I can be able to fundraise for this girl. And I went and ran Boston Marathon and came back, and I put the girl back to the university. And the girl, at least today, she's a JSS teacher somewhere. I don't know where she teaches.
Oh, you don't even know where she went?
She graduated, and it's because it is not my beer. I don't know. She's teaching somewhere. She's a JSS teacher, and she's teaching somewhere. Because when she conceived the second time, her mother came here and told her, you know what? Just get married. Go and get married. There is no way, because the father had a stroke. By that time, the mother was looking after the father, and she came from a poor background. So if the mother came here, yes, where she was living in the informal settlement, and she told her daughter, you can get married. There is no way, and so she lost hope. She used to go to Mijengos. She used to go to the farms here to do manual jobs, and so I thought at least she would. When she came here, I discovered her. She to come and wash clothes for me. I said, this could be my daughter. This could be my daughter. And this is somebody at the university who's coming to clean up my house. No, it's not worth it. Let me think of helping her at least. And so I have helped that girl. She has graduated, and she's a teacher, and and my business, and she teaches somewhere in Ukambani. I don't know, she doesn't call me, but my duty, she has never called me, but my duty is over. I have even arranged for a graduation. I did for
a party?
I did for a graduation party. I brought our relatives from Ukambani, brought them here at least at the graduation. Brought them to my house, and then we cooked food here, and it was taken to the church, and we celebrated our graduation party, and she went, and she was employed as a teacher, but I don't know where she is, and she doesn't call me, but that is my greatest joy. Yes, at least that is, that is somebody who got out of,
We must give honor where honor is due. That is an amazing thing that you've done. And in fact, if I could get the chance, I would look for her and tell her, you have to go and thank Tata. One day, just come with shopping here, so that we can acknowledge your hand in somebody's life. And those are the footprints that will really, people always want to leave behind. And this is a story that can be told when you have later gone, long gone. How do you use your platform, apart from that, to inspire other marathon runners, if not other marathon runners, stories like this one that you've just said, other women in general?
Yes. Every time at least we have a run, at least, and I tell people running marathons is a huge movement all over the world, and it's all about charity. At least it's all about charity, and I tell people, just go register, even that 1,000 shillings that unajinyima chips, unajinyima saloon, unafanya nini. Yes, go and change a life of somebody.
Yes,
we have serious environmental issues now. Yes, our environment, at least, yes, serious environmental issues, planting trees, at least. I tell people, come on board, at least, and let us change. Like even here in Kitengela where we live, at least, yes, if everybody planted trees, we will be able to change this environment completely, and it's going to be raining. It's just going to be like any other place, at least, yeah, like any other place, at least, yeah. So I encourage people just to do, just take an initiative of even doing something, at least, and don't say, yeah, you can go get trees. We can get trees from Karura. We can get trees from, and we can come and change this environment, because if we do not do it, the environment is going to judge us harshly, at least, and our children and grandchildren. So why can't we wake up at least and do something for somebody else? We can do education. Like right away, there is a child here at Nduku Children's Home. This is Nduku Children's Home. Actually, usually hosts street boys, street girls, and street children who are here. And there is this student who has transitioned from a street child to somebody and the boy is now in secondary school. And this is what I'm pushing. Yes, I have picked up that initiative, and the boy is at a school in our neighboring, and we picked up the boy last year and informed too. And yes, I have because the boy lost a sponsor, and so somebody approached me, and I said, okay, let me see what we can be able to do. So now, I mean, we are changing a life of somebody, a former street boy. If this boy drops out of school, and yes, I mean, why would that? Yes, I feel so attached, I so obliged that at least we should get people. Even if we don't get in people, at least I will ask friends at least to contribute towards this. So yes, and running at my age, at least running for 5 hours marathon.
Hey, that's crazy.
That is crazy. And I tell people, let's go out and run at least, and run for a worthy cause.
Yes.
Don't run for a medal, pure medal. Run for a worthy cause. Can you attach yourself to something? This country has many needs,
so many needs.
Yes, so many needs, and that is how I'm saying I don't have to run for charities in the developed countries. I'm trying to connect myself with the charities back at home. Back at home, because we have a lot of needs here. Yes, and we can be able to raise money, and I talk to people, let us at least run for a worthy cause. Don't go to run for a purely medal. As much as you are running for physical fitness, which is good, please can you connect yourself with something that you can be able to get out of that run and be happy at least. And even when generations to come, they will say, okay, you changed the life of somebody, even if it is one life that you change, even if you improve the environment here. Even if I plant trees here, yes, in the neighboring here, yes, on the river bank here, that at least overflows here, and the river in 10 years' time it doesn't overflow. That is something that at least should inspire something generations to come.
Let's talk about now your running side. How does your training start? Like from morning till probably the end.
It's vigorous. It is a rigorous training. Mostly I do 2 full marathons in a year. In a year, like in the beginning, I usually do the Kilimanjaro, and towards the end of the year, I do the Standard Chartered Marathon. A training for full marathons actually requires between 12 weeks to 16 weeks. You get onto a program. If not, you are going to run the marathon
and faint there.
but you are going, it is going to be painful for you. Yes, you are punishing your body so much. So you have to check that. At least you have to get into a training program. We have coaches, we have people who are coaching the recreational runners, because as you know, as we are recreational runners and we do not have we are not like the elite who are paid to run, as we pay to run. Yes, we are the opposite. Yes, recreational runner pays to run, and yes, and out of these runs, at least which 99% it is the recreational runner who runs for charity, and like the elite runners who are paid to run. So we get onto a program within ourselves. We have coaches, but all those years that I have run without a structured coach. I just go online, pick something, a training program that is going to suit me. Sometimes I start when it is 8 weeks to the marathon, and I'm telling you, you are punishing your body. It's difficult, it's not easy. So we put ourselves on a training program at least, and the training program we have to run at least sometimes 5 to 6 days a week. That is mandatory. You have to run 5 to 6 days. Yes, and the distance is given, at least the distance is given, whether you work or not. But for the people who work, it's not easy. It is a lot of sacrifice, because I'm seeing the people whom we are running with and they are working. They have to wake up at 3 o'clock. They have to go to they have to start running or 5 o'clock. They have to have finished their runs by 6 o'clock for them to have shower, for them to be in an office. So it's not easy, at least. But for somebody like myself, at least who lives here, I usually wake up at 5:30 or 5 in the morning. Put my dogs in. I have dogs. At least I don't have anyone, at least who helps me around, at least, except for this just now, that at least about 6 weeks I got somebody to look after some poultry, that I'm poultry farming now, and I've just gotten somebody. Otherwise I don't have any help, at least. And the girl you see here, she's a babysitter for my niece. So I do everything for myself. I do cleaning
for yourself.
I do cleaning. I have planted all these trees. Every tree. Every tree that you see here.
Wow.
I have planted myself, and even if one dries up or withers, I would be able to tell, because I can be able to know. This, I had planted a tree here, and after some time it is not there. I can be able to ascertain that. So all these trees are the one who has planted and flowers. So I start the day at 5:30, or go out at maybe probably 6. It depends on at least whether it's I'm going to do a long run or a short run. I leave the house at 6. And probably I do between 8 kilometers, or mostly 10 kilometers to 12 kilometers, depending on the training program that I'm having. And and so after, I'm usually back by 8:30. 8:30 I would come back and probably have some breakfast and cook for my dogs and do some manual jobs here. I have a kitchen garden that at least I do. So I would come and do all these things at least once I come back. On Saturdays, I will usually have a club run. When I moved to Kitengela here, of course, when I was in Nairobi, I had started a club called Urban Swaras. I'm one of the founder members for the club called Urban Swaras. But when I moved to Kitengela, I asked myself, is it really worth it to drive 42 kilometers from Kitengela to go to Nairobi and only run 20 kilometers or 10 kilometers? It is not worth it. So when I started, when I moved in here, in 2015, I started a club called Kitengela Mbuni Runners, which is Mbuni is for ostrich.
My question would be now: are you trying to involve corporates into working with you now that you know that you've said that it takes vigorous training? So after the vigorous trainings, I think sometimes you also want some success out of that training and also some exposure. What are you doing to make sure that you're getting funding for that?
Yes, thank you so much. I would like to work with corporates, and I even begin with the Tamasha TV, because I would like like to even to start right away at my doorstep with the Tamasha TV. Once they air this documentary, at least somebody somewhere sitting in a boardroom in a corporate world will be able to see the efforts of this woman who is running at her age at 71 years old, and she's running for a worthy cause. We can partner with her and try to help her at least achieve her dreams by making a difference in someone's life.
Right.
So yes, this is how corporates like you, other corporates, at least I have had many interviews. So many people have been coming here, and I always tell them at least my dream is I would like to run the 4 remaining world marathon majors which are remaining, which is London, Berlin, Tokyo, and Sydney.
All in 1 year.
No. They cannot be run because I can only run 2 marathons in a year.
Oh, so, yes.
The dream of every runner is to run the 7 world marathon majors. And you witnessed this even after the many years of Eliud Kipchoge having run and broken world records. He had not achieved the dream of running the 7 world marathon majors. And so last week Sunday, he recapped by running the New York Marathon and getting the 6th star for the World Marathon Majors. And as I have said, the dream of every runner, both recreational and elite runners, it is to run those marathons.
Yes.
The 7 World Marathon Majors. Currently there were 6 before, but now Sydney has just come in and there are 7.
Wow!
Yes, there were 6 before, and the 6 were 3 are in the US, which is New York, which is Boston, which is Chicago, and then of course Europe has Berlin, it has London, and then we go to Japan, there is Tokyo, and Sydney has just joined the 7 World Marathon Majors.
Yes.
So a dream, every runner would like to run, and of course I have run the 3 in the US.
Yes. Tell us about that. Tell us about the marathons that you've run, just in case anybody does not know.
Well, as I have said, at least I have run the prestigious, among the 7 world marathon majors, I have run the 3 prestigious marathons, which are some of the oldest marathon in the running history. I ran New York in 2019. In 2008, I ran the Chicago Marathon. And 2021, I ran the 125th anniversary of the Boston Marathon. And Boston Marathon is one of the oldest and the prestigious.
I'm sitting with a prestigious lady right now.
Oh, yes.
And you don't look your age. By the way, hongera sana. What you're doing, continue doing it. I want to do it when I'm 71.
Yes.
But Tata, my question now would be, what legacy do you want to leave for your family and your community and the people that you've also inherited as by reason of, you being the marathon granny?
Yes, as I've said, at least the legacy that I would like to leave it is reach out somebody, run and make a difference in somebody's life. Let us use running and change the lives of so many people, because it's so cheap at least and it is achievable. And that is the legacy that at least I would like for people to look at. Can I change a life of somebody? Can I change? Can I make this world a better world than I found it, at least through changing the way people, we have actually treated our environment, at least, So I would like at least that legacy, at least to be emulated by so many of us, at least, and by doing so, it is achievable. It's as I've said, make a difference of somebody's life or the environment that you live. Yes.
You have changed so much around your, around in your lifetime, that I hear that they're writing they've written not a book, but they've written something about you. Maybe you tell us about that.
Yes, sometimes last year when I ran the Kilimanjaro Marathon, somebody did a clip, recorded a clip, and that clip went viral. And that clip, after it went viral, a lot of a lot of Kenyans took a lot of interest, and one of the people who took an interest is Kwazini. Kwazini took a lot of interest, and they said this is an ordinary Kenyan who is going out to do extraordinary things. And the Kwazini normally tells true stories about ordinary people who do extraordinary things. So they were interested with my story, and they came up here and they did an interview, and the interview now the interview at least it's ending up in a book form, and so this is something that at least just the same way you people you have come and get this story at least, and we do not know where it is going to end up at least. It will end up in a boardroom somewhere, it may end up at least in the big corporates, it may end up in even in people's dining tables, sharing a meal at least, and even in the rural areas at least, where I can inspire the young generation to start running. We don't know where this story is going to end up at least.
One final question now before we go, and thank you so much for hosting us in your beautiful house. It's amazing. What's next for you?
Next thing for me, it is I would like to run the 4 remaining World Marathon majors. And and I don't want to run just for a medal for London Marathon, which is London, Berlin, Tokyo, and Sydney. And South Africa, we do not have a World Marathon majors, while Kenya produces some of the finest long distance running. This country should have at least should have been voted to host a World Marathon major. But because we do not have the infrastructure, and a lot of Kenyans do not embrace the recreation of runners, they do not embrace long distance running. South Africa has beaten Kenya, and it's going to be hosting. South Africa is joining the rest of the world to be hosting a World Marathon major. Next year, Sanlam is coming in to be the 8th World Marathon major after Sydney has come in, because they would like at least to the World Marathon major series would like to award continents. There has been awarding continents at least, and Africa, which produces some of these good runners like Kenya. We did have a World Marathon major, but because of a lot of logistics, at least we lost it, and it went to South Africa. So South Africa next year is going to join and host to become a World Marathon major by running Sanlam. But of course, I would like to run the 4 which are remaining, and I want to run for a worthy cause. I don't want to start at the start line and run just for an ordinary medal. I want to make a difference in somebody's life. I want to change the environment. I want to push this message to the doorsteps of many Kenyans, in the dining places, in hotels, in offices, in homes. I would like this message to reach them.
Yes.
If I'm at my age at 71 years old, I can be able to run a marathon. Who else can run?
Yes.
Who else? If at 71 I'm running, who else can run? Anybody else can run a full marathon at least, and change somebody's life or change this world and become a better world.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Marathon Granny. She is spilling with like if I did not stop this interview tungeenda hapa tukiendelea mpaka hata kesho. Thank you so much for hosting me so much, Granny. One last thing you'd like to tell the people who are watching?
I would like to tell them to subscribe to Tamasha TV.
Yes.
And follow this story.
Yes.
And do many likes as you can.
Yes.
Yes. So please, I hope at least from this minute I will start seeing the likes and people subscribing to Tamasha TV. We are on with Tamasha TV. Come on.
Where can they connect with you?
They can connect me with I have a running club called Kitengela Bundi Runners. I founded a club here. They can come and run with me and see what Kitengela can be able to offer. Yeah, a lot of people say Kitengela is dusty. You people, you have come here and you have seen. We live in the living suburbs.
You live in the living
suburbs of Kitengela. Yeah, Kitengela. And you can come and run in our environment. We have the biggest we have the second biggest ostrich farm in Africa. So the ostrich farm is, you can come and run and you run around the ostrich farm and this and you, yeah.
That's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Marathon Granny. So much of wisdom, so much energy. Hey, even me, I'm trying hard to keep up with her. And I hope that I am this energetic when I'm 71 years old as well. My name is Natasha Agunda. The channel that you are watching is Tamasha TV KE. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so that we can keep the channel going. And once you like, share, and subscribe, it means that somebody else has a chance to see this. So like, share, and subscribe. Till the next episode, toodles.